recording. And we are live. Welcome back to the RINO podcast. Happy Sunday, everybody. Day 4 of the occupation. Freedom fighters, what are you doing to keep yourself safe and your neighbor? Your rights are being destroyed. The camps are coming. You will be imprisoned. Make sure you disassociate from any family or friends who might have voted for Donald J. Trump. Excommunicate them from your lives.
Oh.
That's my Facebook feed right now. I don't know about anybody else on planet Earth. I mean, it's fucking pathetic. You started off because I have like this is like personal across the board. I think it's personal for a lot of people. We'll get into the political in a second, but I mean, people are they're losing their fucking minds.
Yeah, okay, so like we're in Massachusetts, folks. Donald Trump won the presidency, won the popular vote. I think it's more or less like the reactions I've been seeing is basically like, good job, Latinos. They're going to round you up and deport you. Like they're not legal citizens and citizens of the United States.
Yeah, and that's usually said by a white person.
Yeah, the whitest white person that you.
Who doesn't know that Latinos can be American citizens and vote however the hell they want to vote?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
And, it's been pretty cringe. What else? Everyone who voted for Donald Trump, you can kick them out of your lives because they're the worst sort of people in the world. Not on several of them.
And on that,
first, I have a cough drop because if you don't know, in Massachusetts right now, it is so dry because we have had hardly any rain that there are like leaf fires happening around the North Shore. And so the smoke is like making my throat hurt. But anyway, yeah, no, it's just, how can I say this? I think that there has been more acceptance that he won, but the reaction to it has been crazy.
Yeah. Agree completely. And Adrian Vermeule just refollowed me. Look, I like that guy a lot. He's a very smart man. I mildly critiqued something he said like a couple years ago, and he like immediately unfollowed me, and he might have blocked me and then unblocked me. And I'm like, hey, look, man, I'm going to call him as I see him. If you can't handle it, perhaps it's not a good idea you follow me. But I liked what he said, because he said that basically, like, the people that are engaging in this right now and cutting everybody out of their lives, they'll just become, they're just going to ostracize themselves into obscurity. I agree with this, and I quote tweeted it because he only does replies to people he follows. I quote tweeted it, and it's just like, this is the aging hippies going like, Reagan was bad, man. Trickle down economics, and it's like, what is that? What does trickle down economics mean? And they give some ham-fisted answer. They don't know what they're talking about. You're just going to hear blah fascism, blah racism, and you're going like, oh God. And it's these people will, sequester themselves into obscurity. What troubles me, or what, I don't know if it troubles me, what just annoys me is the sanctimonious attitude where they're saying, I have morals and I'm not going to be friends with anybody who voted for Donald J. Trump, and they're going to be out of my life. Meanwhile, 4 months ago, wait, hang on, I got to say this. 4 months ago, they were wishing and hoping he got his head blown off in that assassination attempt. And then they proceeded to talk about how it was a fake assassination attempt when a firefighter lost his life who was a Trump supporter. Like, disgusting people. You're disgusting people, and you do not have any moral high ground here. None. Zero. You're the bad person. Consider the fact that you might be wrong. Really, really think deeply. I know you don't want to hear that, liberals, but consider the fact you might be completely incorrect about what you're thinking and what you believe. Once you do that, am I wrong? Oh, no, I'm definitely wrong. Everybody else is evil and racist. Okay, fuck you. Bye-bye. We're done. Go ahead, Caitlin.
My thing. it's just like, yeah, man, like let's put out a bajillion ads about abortion and then have one of these ads where a dude is fucking a girl and then goes and gets the what is it, the condom, and then you see this guy that looks like Jeff Sessions or something
Yeah.
being the representative of the Republican Party, and it's just like they're comical, but it's not going to make anybody vote for the Democrat, right? Like it's just like you all do not get it because that is not the Republican Party of now. So like when someone watches that ad, they're going to be like, I'm sorry, but no Republican has ever stopped me from getting a condom.
Like, but that's the absurdity, and
right. And like, but also with that, it's like I don't know. Like I feel like even after 2020, I never saw any Trump person, any Republican, be like, I'm going to push the liberals in my family out of my life. And if that did happen, they were made fun of. Like this is a pervasive, like very like liberal attitude about booting people from your life over politics.
Yeah, no, that it's very much so, which is typical in reality, them being fascist. They want to suppress and censor speech they don't like, that they don't agree with. The calls for censorship all over the place, the calls for regulating social media, just insane. Just absolutely insane. Proving every reason why everybody voted for Trump that could see the problem. And they're still doubling down on the insanity. Look, this isn't everybody. There are some people that are taking stock and understand exactly why he lost. This is why Kamala lost and Trump won. Why they lost. And it's not going to be everybody. They're going to, a lot of people are going to wait. Bill Maher, comedian Bill Maher, who definitely voted for Kamala Harris. He knows why Trump won. And it's not the reasons why these insane people say.
It's just like post-pandemic. Okay, so he had his show the other day, and he actually did this really good bit where he made fun of both sides, and it was refreshing, right? Mm-hmm. And for 4 years post-pandemic, because Bill Maher, when the pandemic happened, and when the liberals decided to go crazy on lockdowns and vaccines, and I'm pro-vaccine, by the way, like I got the COVID vaccine. When they decided to go crazy on all of this stuff, he was a liberal that was like, okay, I think we're going a little too far. And post like, January 6th and all this other stuff with Trump losing and all of that, he brought on conservatives the entire 4 years. Okay. He had Ron DeSantis on his show.
Yeah.
Like he's been talking to Republicans. He saw this, right? Because his side was still trying to morally genuflect to, I don't know, like whatever, but like it's just like when you feel like you can't even say or talk or do something, like they're gonna do it instead, because at the end of the day, like I'm gonna vote for the party that fucks me less. Like
I mean, it's yeah.
That's what my dad says. He's like both parties are gonna fuck me, but the Republicans tend to fuck me less. Like
but even say though, I mean, like I'm hard pressed to find I'm sure a liberal could come up with a litany of 20 reasons of how Republican Party fucks over the voters, but I don't know that
have those talking points, Jeff.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if like 19 of them.
Number one is going to be they're going to roll grandma off a cliff if they try to touch Social Security. Like they have those talking points, but the reason why they're not salient anymore is because the Republican Party of now it's not there anymore. It's also not believable when you've been in power for 4 years and the price of bread has gone up.
Yeah. Well,
it's not reasonable anymore because gas is still high.
Yeah.
It's not reasonable anymore when the world is on fire and you sat there and then all of a sudden sent Ukraine weapons. We're glad you sent Ukraine weapons, but the reason why Russia went into Ukraine is because you weren't a deterrent anymore. And that has to deal with our national pride, right? Like that's the way that I look at it. I mean, how can you look at the Afghanistan withdrawal and lied to the entire country that you had this entire thing planned. And then I see a baby being lifted to our Marines.
Yeah.
And 13 of them die.
And then they try to tell you right after that, and this happened last week on one of those ridiculous CNN panels where Scott Jennings just destroys everybody on there, where they start to talk about, and this tiny little man who's a failed comedian has a show on Sirius XM, Pete Dominic, that little bald-headed guy with the beard. He starts going like, just bullshit mountain, man. It's like, no, it turned in August of 2021 in the Afghanistan withdrawal. It did. It absolutely did. Because they failed at it, and they try to tell you that, oh, that's not when it happened. That's a fucking lie. It's like, no, it's not.
It's not that they don't try to tell you that that's not what happened as well. They tried to tell you that this happened because of Donald Trump, FYI. They don't even acknowledge that Biden was in charge and had people around him that were making decisions. Like, this is 3 years ago and we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that the 2024 election, I will say this, the red wave that we did not see in 2022 was delayed because of the Dobbs decision, but we got it. Donald Trump won. He won decisively this week. And then what do we see afterward, Jeff? All these liberals coming out of the woodwork to do their own little autopsies, and half of them get it, half of them don't. Actually, you know what? A majority don't get them.
Yeah, if we're being honest, it is a minority. I'll call it. I've seen it just based on the response and analysis. 20 to 30% of Democrats and liberals sort of get why it was. They're like, no, it was the economy, it was immigration, it was the issues. And our friend Greg Casey, who, local guy who, is involved in GOP politics, he had a good tweet. I really liked it. I told him I was going to steal it. It's like, you want to think that people voted, for the price of eggs instead of your, taking away your rights. It's like, no, they voted for the price of eggs and your delusion that you're losing all your rights. It's a delusion. You're under a delusion. And you can't talk to people who are under a delusion. They have to get out of it themselves. And there's no amount of evidence, there's no amount of videos, there's no amount of logic you can apply to the situation. They're just going to go on and on and on and scream into the ether and share Heather Cox Richardson posts on Facebook, who is an absolute lunatic. A lunatic. If you follow the past 3 weeks of her diatribes, the last one before the election, Donald J. Trump wore a, I don't know why I'm saying Donald J. Trump so much. Donald Trump wore a yellow tie to signal to the Proud Boys that he supports them on some interview. I mean, boom. He was on stage and just wandered around for 20 minutes because he's under dementia. It's like the microphones were broken and he just had to wait, and he just kind of ad-libbed and just goofed off for just complete lies, complete nonsense. She's out of her mind. These people, stop listening to people. Get off Facebook. Get out in the real world. And honestly, join X and Twitter. It is the best platform out there. It is going to crush all of them. You sanctimonious liberals, who is it? Adam Gaffin, Universal Hub, at Universal Hub in Boston. Oh, you'll never see this because you've quit X, Twitter. It should be just Twitter. But I can't be a part of this this platform anymore. It's because you're losing your arguments. Bill Maher is successful. Let me explain to all of you why Bill Maher is successful. Bill Maher is successful because he has on people from the right, and he engages in a discussion. Now, very often the clips you see on Saturday morning when you're scrolling through are him getting owned on the argument. Somebody brings in somebody intelligent. They know their shit. They wreck him.
Yeah, but at least he fucking takes it.
But that's right. But he takes it because liberal arguments aren't very good. Okay? And why you all fail, Boston Globe, GBH, everybody, is because you don't bother. You know, deep down inside, you know your arguments suck. And you're not going to have people on that represent the other side because it risks hurting your fragile little ego. But you know what? This platform right here is going to save the day for other people, but you're going to go by the wayside. Everybody said it Tuesday night. Legacy media died that night. It's just the zombie media. That's what's going on. It's great. I'm happy about it. They deserve it. All right. Next
To
up. Sorry, well, I'll move on.
no, to the local vibe of
Yes. Okay. So
let's talk about my
your
congressman.
congressman Seth Moulton came out this past week after the election and said the insane thing that he doesn't think boys should be playing in girls' sports. I think that is a completely normal and logical thing to say. I agree with it. I know you don't like your congressman, but and the question on the title of the episode is, do we believe him? Why wouldn't you believe him if he's going to say that? I personally do believe him. I think he's saying, yeah, this stuff is nuts. It's part of the reason why they lost, and he probably wants to get his party back to a winning place. I don't know if it's possible. Caitlin, I take it you do not believe him.
So I think I've made it very clear that I used to live in Salem, Mass. And Salem is crazy. Okay. It is like, I don't even know how to describe it because it's like still super crazy post Halloween and people being there on a weekend like day, which is nuts. I moved from Salem because it's now just getting so busy. It is highly, highly, highly progressive. Like San Francisco parody progressive. And Seth Moulton, like anytime a politician goes there, I don't know if they're putting on an act or whatever, but they like Seth Moulton's like office is downtown and all this other stuff. But they definitely put on like a progressive act, right? Like there is a very cemented progressive political scene, and it is very censorious. Like it is like almost like oppressive. Like if you come out as like a Republican or like walk around with like an American flag, they look at you weird.
Yeah.
So Seth Moulton saying this, I don't disagree with what he said, by the way. I do not disagree with what he said. I think that he is disingenuous.
But and why? Which part is disingenuous? The part where
the fact that he's saying it post-election because he knows now that after he won, he's trying to do an autopsy for his party and he's trying to be the first person to say it. The thing is like, I know on background that most people don't like Seth Moulton in the Democratic Party because they think that he is one of these people that wants to run for president. He is like,
well, he did run for president. Like a ladder. Didn't he run for president for a minute? Yeah.
He's from Marblehead, but tries to say he's from Salem. Let me just say that. Okay.
And for those not familiar with the area, Marblehead is a very wealthy area.
Very wealthy.
He's prep school. He served in the armed forces. Kudos to that. Thank you for your service. But he's prep school, Harvard, on the track. I want to move up the ladder. How you were told to move up the ladder in the 90s and 80s. Like here's the path you're on. You want to be president, young man? Here's what we're going to do. And that's the path he chose. Do not think for a second he's deviating from that. So everything is calculated around that. And it's not a bad calculation, though. His statement's not a bad calculation because it's a 90-10 issue.
But what happened afterward, Jeff? The very Salem thing happened afterward, okay? So I have to agree with his staffers that he is disingenuous because he is disingenuous, okay? But we agree on different ways that he's disingenuous. Okay.
All right, I get your point. So he faked it before. I think he probably knows that he was full of shit before, but I don't think he's full of shit in his statement. Okay. All right, that's fair.
Oh, no. I still think he's full of shit in his statement because he's saying it because of Trump winning.
Oh, he doesn't actually. Okay, so he doesn't believe what he's saying
I don't think
necessarily,
he
or he doesn't care.
I don't think he believes in much of anything, Jeff. I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
Like I don't think he has a lot of personal beliefs.
It's all just political. Just
the people,
what's the wind blowing? Then
okay. The Salem School Board, his staffers that quit, they're angry because he deviated from the liberal line.
Mm-hmm.
I am mad at Seth Moulton all the time because he's a shitty representative, and he is not genuine. And this statement proves that he's not genuine. He doesn't believe anything. Like, it is, yes.
To come out, all right, you're starting.
happy with the statement, but he is disingenuous
you're starting to win me over, because while the statement itself, if you take it in isolation, is logical and correct, and it is correct. The fact that he didn't say anything before that, made a phony, whatever, I can't even think of the word, to the progressive movement prior to the election, and then the day after the election, he decides to come out with this. Okay, you're winning me over. Your argument, you're making good points, Counselor. I'll allow it. Continue.
If your representative came out and said this, Jeff.
My representative is out of her fucking mind. That's Catherine Clark. She may not show up to the inauguration because she didn't do it in 2016. And I wonder, Ayanna Pressley, who would say, who prior from 2016 to 2020 said, I will not acknowledge him as the president, and the man who occupies the White House is what she would qualify him. I'm very curious to how she's going to word this, and is she going to be delusional or accept the fact? Because she's one of the A1, top tier people that caused a lot of the Trump delusion and a lot of the reason why she lost, why Kamala lost, for sure. She's in there. She's in the squad, 100%. Okay. All right. You may have won me over with do we believe Seth Moulton? Anyway, next up, Maura Healy. What are we going to do with you? Okay. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to beat you in 2 years. That's what we're going to do.
She is something else.
So I'm going to play the audio for you, but I'm going to play, come on, click share. It's shared. Let's do this. That's a little meme I have up. You can't see it. All right. Here we go. Here's Maura Healy the day after the election, or the day after that.
If the Trump administration requests it, would the Massachusetts State Police assist in mass deportations?
No, absolutely not. But, let me say this. I do think it's important that we all recognize that there's going to be a lot of pressure on states and state officials. And I can assure you, we're going to work really hard to deliver. Some realities also need to be, noted, and that is in 2016, we had a very different situation in the courts. And while I'm sure there may be litigation ahead, there's a lot of other ways that people are going to act and need to act for the sake of their states and their residents. There's regulatory authority and executive powers and the like. There's legislation also within our states. So I think that the key here is that every tool in the toolbox has got to be used to protect our citizens, to protect our residents, and protect our states, and certainly to hold the line on democracy and the rule of law as a basic principle, right?
Democracy and the rule of law. Okay, so Trump wins with a mandate, clear mandate by millions of votes. The rule of law, the law says the federal government is in charge of immigration policy and immigration enforcement. And you are, as a former attorney general and chief law enforcement officer of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, are deciding to disregard that in the Orwellian doublespeak that negates exactly what you just said. Go for it, lady. Go for it. Storm's coming. I don't think you understand.
I'm sorry, but if they're lined up for deportation, they're getting deported.
Yeah.
More likely.
Okay, and by the way,
deported. I just enough. We have depleted state funds in order to help out, air quotes, help out with this. Enough. I'm a taxpayer. Our tax dollars should be going to other things in the state. Period. Donald Trump won with a mandate. You're not going to protect the state of Massachusetts. You're going to be the governor for 2 more years, and then hopefully we can find somebody sane who can run against you and win. Because enough. The GOP did very well on Tuesday with House seats and Senate seats. They're on the upswing. They're doing a good job. I'm hoping that keeps going forward. But enough, Maura Healy, enough. Because your I mean, the entire state of Massachusetts. I'm looking at swings based on the New York Times, Jeff. Let me find the graphic that I pulled. Nope. Shift towards Trump compared to 2020. Florida, R plus 9.8. What's the second most swing in the United States? You know what state had the second?
I know.
Massachusetts.
Yep.
8.8. That was from Lawrence. That was from Falls River. Yep. That was even from Somerville, because Somerville swung to the right by 5 points.
Yep.
You want to know why? Because it's expensive to live in Massachusetts because of all the regulations that our Democratic supermajorities in the state house pass that Maura Healy signs, and people need to be able to afford food. They also want to be able to make sure that our police forces are fully funded and not have to deal with progressive bullshit on thresholds of shoplifting. They also do not want to have to deal with the fact that our state bank account is being depleted because of all the migrants that are on Route 1 and on the South Shore in hotels that we're helping pay for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gone. Like, the funding's going to be gone tomorrow. Like,
when
get
Baker
used
left
to it.
office, there was a surplus. When she entered the office, there was a surplus. It is now depleted.
Yep. So, look, this is to come out with this the day after publicly. It just goes to show you she ran a basement campaign against Jeff Deal because you could, and she didn't have to come out with anything. The most moderate thing she has is I guess ties to the business community and sort of wants, knows economic progress is the engine of what needs to get reelected, but not if you have outrageous, the bankrupting of the state budget from illegal immigrants. And it's happening in real time. So I notice her language, right? She says citizens, and then she's very quick to follow that up with residents, right? So now the illegal immigrants in these hotels, in these shelters, all over the state are now residents. So I remember seeing that the day after the election. I'm like, okay, residents, that's the buzzword. That's what they're going to say. We cannot deport our residents. It's like, they're not residents. They're here illegally. They were busted.
They're awaiting a court date. What are you talking about? They're not residents of the United States. Yeah. They're awaiting a court date in order to put their case in front of an actual immigration judge in order to get actual residency. They're not even residents.
So let's talk about the logistics of this, because it's very, very important, right? So what's going to happen, I think the Trump administration will be smart enough to know this. They're going to follow what J.D. Vance said about deporting illegal immigrants in one of his interviews. It's like you start with the criminals, okay? Because they estimate anywhere from 500,000 to...
Yeah, you mean the guy that raped a minor on the South Shore? He needs to go.
So what's going to happen is that's order of priority, and that should happen first. So if local police apprehend somebody for committing a crime, whether it's stealing or drunk driving or beating up somebody at a bar, and they're in custody, and lo and behold, they're an illegal immigrant, ICE should have a detainer against them. It should be respected, and they should go immediately, gone, out of the country. Now, she's doing this wishy-washy thing where state police won't partake in mass deportations. Well, mass deportations aren't really going to take effect immediately. That's really not how it's going to work. It's going to be the criminals first, and then they're going to tighten the screws on businesses and tighten the screws on the open checkbook. New York City already pulled back the debit cards, right? They're already canceled, right? So that's coming. So it's going to be harder and harder for these people to stay and economically crack down on the companies, impose massive fines for anybody who hires them. It'll just start to dry up, and a lot of people will just go back to their home country. But the criminals start first, and Maura Healy will have a very important decision to make. Is she going to respect those ICE detainers with state police pick anybody up, or is she not? And I can tell you right now, she's laid it out. She probably isn't. And it is going to be, you will not see a second term. Done. You've said it. And by the way, even if you start to respect the ICE detainers, you're on video right now. The videos write themselves. You're done. She's an activist. She's not a serious, competent manager or executive. She's an activist. She will continue to be an activist.
The reason why your heating bills went up is because she stopped 2 pipelines to our state when she was attorney general that would have helped with our heating costs. These people don't give a shit about you in your daily life. Your daily life. They don't give a crap.
Your gas bill's going to go up 30% this winter. They announced that in the paper the other day. In the news, it's going up. Thank Maura Healy. She, as Attorney General, she sued to stop that. Your bills are going to go up 30%. Okay? It's her fault. The cause and effect. This is just it. She doesn't give a shit. So, look, good luck, lady. Winter is coming because look, we're already having Caitlin's, I'm sure, in the loop on some other things. People are already moving around. Activity is happening. And I don't think you're going to be prepared for what's going to hit you, nor should you be, because you don't deserve to be in the office. Unfortunately, we ran an incompetent buffoon as our nominee last time, but I don't think that's going to take place this time. I think you're done, and everybody's tired of it. Every few years, Massachusetts has to do this, right? You have to have Dukakis, and then you get Weld. You have to have Deval Patrick, then you get Baker, and then Romney before Patrick. Like, you just have to, every few cycles, Massachusetts residents, things are good, and Massachusetts residents go, okay, we'll try a Democrat this time, and then it all goes to shit, and then like, all right, sorry. We'll pretend that the federal government isn't important and elect all Democrats, but really at home we need a competent manager to keep everybody in check, and that's what's going to happen. One term. Bye-bye. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Hopefully, bye-bye to Maura Healy. She's the worst, and she's awful.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun. Honestly, like I said the other night when we did a post-election show, I'm fired up. I'm fired up for Mass Poly stuff to kick into gear, and her statement on MSNBC the other night is just bafflingly stupid. But if you agree to common sense and logical governance, it's bafflingly stupid. If you're a progressive and you want to basically see the United States deteriorate, it makes perfect sense to you. So, all right, that's it, everybody. Head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/RhinoPod. We just did an episode. I think I did a live read. You scroll down one on my feed, and you'll see it. Only $1 a month. We always appreciate your support and a little extra content for you there. So until next time, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.